Okay, in this screencast, we're going to help you think about and brainstorm ideas for developing content-driven activities. These are activities where students are primarily interacting with online content. So there's a lot of different categories of learner content activities. We've divided them into two kind of major areas. That's where they're interacting with dynamic content and where they're interacting or using static content. We'll go through each of these different kinds of things, but the thing that's important to know is that dynamic content involves a back and forth between the student and the content. Things like educational games or simulations, while static content usually is more of a one-way interaction, but important nonetheless. So we're going to show some examples of these two different kinds. First of all, I've created here a Popplet, which a Popplet can actually be a dynamic tool in and of itself, because you can have students go in and add elements to the Popplet, remove elements to the Popplet. In this Popplet, we've put in some examples and links to videos of some different kinds of dynamic content that you can go look at if you want. Some tools that provide practice with feedback, some tools that are interactive, and some simulations that exist out there. So please take a chance if you'd like to go in and look at some of those. Educational games is a form of dynamic content. Here we have a link to some that are linked from the UEN site. So these are related to different content areas: geography, the world, United States, ancient civilizations, and so on. So there are so many different kinds of dynamic content, interactive content out there that part of your task is going to be finding things that match and are a good match for the lesson that you want to do. Learning apps on a computer, on a mobile device, are some other examples, and lots of different areas. Educational simulations allow students to experience things that are a little more real world. There's a lot of educational simulations in math and science. For example, there's things related to phases of the moon, where they can actually move time forward, move time backwards, see what the sky is going to look like. When we get into the more static content, some things that are used are, for example, guided practice with feedback, where you allow students to go through, put in some numbers, practice the problems they're doing, and then you're giving them some basic feedback. This is an example of ChemTutor that is for balancing equations in chemistry. Here's another example of providing exercises with feedback in Khan Academy, where students are able to, draw something, draw points to create parallel lines or whatever, and then some feedback is provided as they check their answer. Another form of static content is just having short lectures online and demonstrations. Here's some examples related to science. You need to be a little bit careful that you don't have lectures and demonstrations that are too long, because students will max out and stop paying attention. You can also have just-in-time explanations. So if they get stuck on something, they can click on a video or click on an explanation and get help with that. Another example are what we call worked examples. And that's like taking a problem and stepping the students through the problem step by step. And this allows you as an instructor to reduce cognitive load. And it also allows you to kind of allow students to go at their own pace. So some students may get the concept more quickly, and so they can move at a faster pace, and the others that go more slowly can work at a pace that's comfortable to them. So in Khan Academy, for example, here's an example. They've got a trigonometry problem, and they go through step by step and show how they would work the problem with examples. So one tool that you'll want to learn is our screencast tools, like what I'm using right now. And there's a lot of very simple tools out there that will allow you to make screencast videos or use your webcam to make brief videos. And this is really useful because it allows you to actually show students how to do something rather than just tell them. So here are my two favorite screencast tools, Screencast-O-Matic and Screencast-ify. I like both of these because they're not dependent on a particular operating system. They just require you to have a browser, so you can have a Mac or a PC. And they're both really, really easy to use. So good luck in brainstorming and thinking about your content-driven activities.